talked about we talked a great conversation here about bad insurance issues, and we talked about bad weather. Now let's talk about Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny says that the U.S. is not necessary. He's doing a residency, I believe it starts July 11th in Puerto Rico, where he's from, at a venue there, and then he's one of the biggest artists in the world right now, a world tour, but he's excluding the U.S., and that's a bit of a political statement. Drake and the Party Next Door up in Canada are doing the same thing. I believe that Shakira canceled her LA show. She's not canceling her US tour because, fear of ICE agents coming in and arresting people. I mean, that's a real thing. You also have one artist named Julian Alvarez, a very big Mexican artist who was an article in Billboard about having a sold out 50,000 seat stadium date, and he couldn't get across the border because they pulled his visa without any notice at all. So you have these issues. Is this something that we're going to be seeing? Well, of course, you can't predict it, but is this a let's talk first about Bad Bunny not touring in the U.S. and others as well. Is the U.S. quote unquote not necessary as a market for live act? And give me some perspective on that.
I'll bet you dollars. I'll bet you dollars to donuts that Bad Bunny tours the U.S. next summer.
Okay. And so that means that this would be a great marketing thing for one thing, but it also makes a statement, and he is popular with the progressive and most people, I would say, that around in LA and New York, big markets, I think would be rooting for him, I think, at this point.
Genius marketing.
I think it's actually quite the opposite. The U.S. is still the most lucrative touring market, and especially in that I think there is a little bit more acceptance of higher ticket prices than there are in Europe. The venues are a little bit more flexible and aggressive in what they will give to get artists in their room, where like in Europe and these old municipalities and soccer stadiums, they'll just be like, tough shit. You don't have to play our venue. And there's just the costs are actually higher. So most artists' profitability, let's just take US and Europe, are going to be a lot higher in the US than they will be in Europe.
Well, I say Viva Bad Bunny, though, for making a statement that brings attention to this issue. But I mean, next year, if he plays the US, wow, look out. People who couldn't get to see him this year, it's going to be even bigger, isn't it?
Remember, once upon a time, Pearl Jam didn't sell tickets through Ticketmaster. Guess who's Ticketmaster? Guess who their promoter is today? Live Nation.
Yeah.
To circle back, Bill, because I don't think we ever directly answered about Live Nation and being a monopoly. I think a lot of the promoters lobbying the DOJ to break up Ticketmaster and Live Nation simply want to be able to compete and pay less to the artists. And I think Live Nation, who's quite aggressive with, buying talent and is obviously the market leader, I think a lot of these promoters would say, well, if we didn't have them in the way, but being aggressive with talent, the price is going to go down, and now we're a real threat. And I think that what that doesn't take into consideration is, one, again, as we discussed, the rising cost for artists. So there's a certain amount of money where it may not be worth it for artists to go on the road if you can't get to that certain guarantee. It's very tough to go backwards. You're not going to say, well, we made 500 a night, but now you're 60 years old, go leave your wife and family for 6 months and be on the road, but we're going to do it for 100 less. So I think there are these nuances that are kind of looked at past. And I think also the Live Nations and the AEGs of the world, they have the expertise from the production, promotion, marketing, and they know how to put on these stadium shows. And they ultimately, this is $1 billion business. You need a lot of money to be able to put on shows of this scale. So we're not going to just as an agency trust all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're going to do this stadium show and bring one of our artists with some tertiary promoter who doesn't have the experience and financial wherewithal to support offers and put shows in these places. It's like, yes, there is certain monopolistic elements to these businesses, but they also are the best at it. So, to change that, unless you're saying, oh, your staff has to go elsewhere, I don't really know that this is the answer, because you don't want a stadium, someone promoting and producing a stadium show who doesn't have experience doing so. It's not good for the fan. It's not good for the arts. It's not good for anybody.
Right.
I think the issue, I don't think the issue, to Jared's point, is look, does Live Nation drive up the price? Yes, but that's a free market. And so I don't begrudge them driving up the price. The issue that I have as a promoter is that they can buy artists exclusively. And because they own the venues, because they own the sponsorship, because they own the ticketing, they're able to say, hey, Jared, I'm going to pay you X dollars for, a 50 city tour exclusively. And now I can't get the artist without Live Nation's permission. And the analogy that Danny Wimmer came up with that I thought was so brilliant is, imagine you're Burger King and McDonald's owns all the beef cows in the US. And now you have to go to McDonald's to get your beef.
I love that analogy. I do say that probably that I don't like the analogy, however, between a cow and an artist. There are some artists, by the way, who are on Ozempic. So I do want you to know that.